My name's Dr. Thomas Patton. I'm a general dentist in the Newcastle area. My affiliation with Jessica is I'm fortunate enough to be her father-in-law. She married my oldest son, Matthew. I first discovered Jess was my female hero in February of 2004 when she asked me to deliver a children's dental health message to her classroom. She warned me that it's not the typical classroom, but I figured I can handle it. When I went to her classroom, Jessica was a conductor of an orchestra. There were 8 students, all running around in different areas doing different things. There were a number of adults in the classroom, an occupational therapist, physical therapist, speech therapist. When the time came for me to deliver my message, she got everybody in their seats. The children were not vocal. They communicated by iPad devices that they could speak with and press different icons, and they could communicate with those. When I delivered my speech, I was definitely out of my element. I was in shock. Did the best I could, and I went home. Later that evening, she came back and she said, "Hey, what did you think?" And I said, "Did the students get anything out of what I said?" And she said, "Well, of course they did. Didn't you see how they responded? Didn't you see how their emotions and their actions were?" And I told her, I said, "I didn't observe anything. I was in total shock." Her special education classroom is definitely an area that I am not qualified to teach in. I don't know how she's done it all these years. Fast forward to a few years later, I was at a meeting at the Butler County Community College, and I was walking down the hallway and I heard her voice coming out of a classroom. I stopped, I went by, I listened. I got to a point where I could look in and I could see how she was presenting to these young women who have aspirations of being a special education teacher, and the way that she presented, the professionalism, the demeanor, the passion that she had for what she was teaching was truly incredible. When I thought about it, the dichotomy of her day classroom to her evening lecture hall at college, where do you find people with the passion, with the knowledge, with the dedication and demeanor to train the next generation of educators? And I think that's when I found out that she was my hero. What superpower have I gained by knowing Jessica? I've tried to live my life by the core values of honor, courage, and commitment. And when I see how Jess lives her life, how she conducts herself in her profession, how she Let me start over. When I see how she reacts with her students, how she interacts with her fellow professionals and administrators, I see that Jessica lives those same core values. And when I look at it, I see that she has set the bar for me personally to try to raise my standards to meet the standards she has of honor, courage, and commitment. If the world was coming to an end, how would Jessica save the world? Anybody that knows Jess knows that if the world was coming to an end, she'd already have a plan filed wherever she needed to have it filed to take care of things. No, she wouldn't have a plan. She would have a primary, a secondary, and a tertiary plan, so that she would make certain that everyone in her area of responsibility would be brought to safety. She would leave no one and I mean no one, behind.
I'm Jess Patton. I am one of the autistic support teachers here at George Washington Intermediate.
Who is your Sheila? Tell us about her.
Well, it's kind of hard to narrow it down to one shero because I've had so many influential women in my life. But when I look at all the women that have really inspired me, they have many things in common. One is passion. They have a passion for whatever it is that they enjoy in life. They're hard workers and they're selfless. And the first three people that come to my mind as a child, my mother really influenced me hard work-wise. And as I went through my profession, Allison Stover showed me a ton of things that just really inspired me. And as I acquired my first real boss, her name was Ann Crow, and she also taught me a very hard work ethic. So those are my sheroes, among others.
What is your superpowers?
My superpower, I think, is compassion. I believe that no matter the individual, no matter the circumstance, I try to always seek the compassion and try to feel and put myself in that person's shoes as well. So I think that's something that carries me through all the situations in my life.
What superpowers would you like to develop?
The superpower I'd like to develop is being able to hold my tongue. I'm a very assertive person. When I see something that's unjust, unfair, I call it out. And in some instances, you just have to let it play out. So I think holding my tongue would be a superpower that I really need to work on.
Describe your armor and how you use it.
My armor kind of goes hand in hand a little bit with my advocacy. I use my ability to be assertive to maybe turn a situation that is not so positive into something that can be a little more positive, or I can advocate for that person, or I can help them find the positive route versus always looking at the negative route.
What villain do you battle?
My villain is definitely the lack of understanding by others. It's very difficult sometimes for others to understand what I do or why I do what I do. So I would say that's my villain, and to combat that, I really try my best to help people understand through communication and conversation.
What was your biggest leadership challenge? How did you overcome it?
My biggest leadership challenge is not being able to make those big important decisions when I need to make them at certain times. Being a teacher, I have a lot of other people that I answer to. There's also lawmakers that may not have ever set foot in a classroom like mine that maybe don't understand what I do, so they make decisions for me, so I'm not always able to make those decisions with my perspective, and so that's something I find difficulty with. But with communication, again, and demonstrating understanding and inviting people in to come and really observe and take a look and have conversation with me, I think we do overcome that, and we do become a team and able to be a leader.
What advice would you give your 18-year-old self?
My 18-year-old self lacked self-confidence, and I was full of self-doubt. So if I could go back and just give myself a nudge and say, you know what? Do what you need to do and what you feel is right. Don't second guess. Show that confidence. Don't doubt yourself. Use your gut and go with it.
Tell us something most people don't know about you.
Most people know that I love archery and I love to archery hunt. But what most people don't know about me is how much I truly enjoy sitting in the quiet woods, especially when it's just about to get dark. I do a lot of thinking there, a lot of soul searching. I find some peace there, and not a lot of people know that about me.
Using no more than 3 words. Complete this sentence. If I could reinvent myself, I would be
the same person. God made me who I am.